All right, family. Once again, this is your brother Assad,
And this is Adrian.
and we are back again with a quick video. Um,
They
but
said it's our tagline.
that's our tagline. But first, let me say, if you can hear it in my voice, got a little head cold. The weather here has been changing from
Yeah.
hot to cold to rainy or whatever have you. And since my body is in tune with nature and the divine creation, that anyway, anyway, I got a little head cold going on, so I'm gonna be sipping a little tea, trying to
And soothe your
trying to
throat.
soothe my throat and fight this little bug so that I can be on a plane next week
Next
to
week,
Johannesburg.
I
Yes.
can't wait.
Super
Oh,
duper
I can't wait.
excited. Super duper excited to ready to touch down. So, as always, let's do a little housekeeping stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We want to thank all of our followers, man. You guys are just amazing, supporting this channel. Some of the emails again. I receive more emails. I could just imagine what it's like to be like someone who is really famous,
Really known, right?
really known, to get all the emails and all that stuff because I get at least 10, 15 a day, and that is cool. And I try my best to respond to each of them. Sometimes it's shorter responses, sometimes it's longer responses because I'm usually in transit or in between a meeting or something.
Yeah.
So really appreciate that. Uh, like, comment, subscribe,
And
and
hit that notification
hit the
button.
notifications button so you'll be made aware when we drop new videos. Oh man, but you can see it actually in my eyes. You can see where the sinuses are
Kind of me
inflamed.
too, a little bit.
Yeah, so but anyway, we want to have a conversation about some of the comments we received on the colored video as well as some of the comments we received in the in our email. And do we want to start with the
Mm-hmm.
heavy hitter or we want to kind of start with the light comments?
Maybe we can start with. So I want to say I was actually really surprised with the amount of feedback we got on
on
that
on the
video. I
colored
mean, a
video?
lot of people weighed in,
Yeah.
and I learned a lot in the comments, right?
Yeah.
So we had a lot of people answering questions, especially around like and we asked about interracial marriage, like how
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how normal is that,
Yeah.
and there was actually variety of opinions. Like some people were like, we don't do that, and then some folks were like, oh, it happens,
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
it just
Some people
depends.
said that coloreds and blacks will marry, but not Indians and blacks or whatever have you.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
guess it just kind of depends on the situation and where you are and who you know and who you're surrounded by. Someone goes off to university and they're colored and they meet a black person that they like, or Amanda Dupont.
Hmm.
Amanda Dupont is a South African actress, and she's married to a white man. She used to be married to or dating a rapper named Jube Jube.
Oh, that's how that controversy started. I remember that.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man. Yeah,
So,
that sounds.
and
Mm.
I don't want to get into that
No, I
controversy.
don't either. I
Yeah,
don't even touch on that
yeah.
one.
But what I'm saying is that I would assume she is either biracial or colored, and she went from married being with a, and she also dated Casper. So she went from like black dudes to white dudes. So
Oh,
apparently,
Amanda out here pulling
I guess
them,
so.
huh? She's pulling
I
them.
guess so.
Okay, what else did people comment? Someone mentioned like a pencil test. They were
Hmm.
like, look up the pencil test. I was like, oh, I wonder if this is the same as like the brown paper bag test.
Yeah.
Man,
Or
the
the
similarities.
rat tooth comb. You remember that
Oh
the rat tooth
yeah,
comb of
like
your
the
hair?
that checking the
Couldn't.
hair
Yeah.
texture.
I would never ever be able to
Ah!
pass that.
Oh no, I couldn't get through that one. It would definitely get
No.
stuck. Like,
Yeah. I
nope,
can't even
can't
do it under my
can't get in
bed.
this restaurant. Can't get in this
Mm.
club. Sorry, lady.
Yeah, that's something
Yeah, I might
else.
have got turned away at the door.
But overall, a lot of information was helpful to kind of paint the picture of this third race of people in South Africa. Now, here's what I found very interesting. Someone in the comments said, "Watch the big debate. Watch the big debate." Right? And I found out that
Mm.
the big debate is like a series. It's not just
Oh.
a debate. But watch the big debate. But I watched the big debate on racism, and it came out maybe about 4 to 5 years ago.
Okay.
And in that debate, what I found to be interesting, Number one was that, um, you know, I listened to a colored man stand up, and he was like, we're the second largest racial group in this country, and yet we're talking about black and white here, you know,
Mm,
so forth and so
mm,
on. So then, uh, uh, what I would perceive to be as a Dravidian Indian, Southern Indian, dark skinned Indian, Mississippi
mm,
Masala Indian, right?
mm.
Stood up, and the host was like, as a Indian colored woman or something like that to that effect, what's your opinion? And she said, oh, I'm not here as an Indian, I'm here as a black woman, because she was dark skinned.
Yeah.
She said, I'm here as a black woman, and to my black brothers, referring to the colored
What? I
guy.
need to watch
Yeah, she said, to my black brother over there,
this.
basically. And I was like, wow. So there's this move, this transient nature of colors, I guess, because she was very dark,
Yeah, yeah.
right? But she had the straight hair. Because the phenotype, I would say no, she. You could see the Indian, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, continental Indian in her or whatever have you. But she said, "No, I'm here as a black woman." And then everybody started clapping or whatever. You know, we. I said, "That's just like black people. We love to invite people in. Come on,
Right,
come on,
right, right.
come on. you with
Welcome to the
us,
Hurt Club.
yeah."
But you remember when that Airbnb we stayed at in Four Ways, and
The chick with
there
the
was a
gold.
yes, there was
Yeah.
a young Indian girl. She had was it two open face, two
No,
gold.
she had all across the top.
No,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. It wasn't just two. It was at least four of them in her mouth.
Oh, all right, all right. She was
Yeah.
so cool.
Which is, the first time we went to South Africa, we were in the airport. I had seen a few people with goals, right?
Yeah, I
But
remember that.
we're in the airport.
You really love
Yeah,
that.
because gold teeth, I don't know what it symbolizes in South Africa, and maybe someone in the comments will let me know. But gold teeth in my city and in the South
In the South.
in the South in general, my grandmother, who was my grandmother who was a church going, I gotta say this because there is a negative
Stigma.
stigma associated
Yeah.
with gold teeth, but it wasn't always like that. It grew into that. So my grandmother, who was born in 1905,
Hmm.
and she had her false teeth, the fake teeth, and she had a gold tooth in her fake teeth. Thug life.
Slugged out.
Hold up.
Oh yeah, you really love that. You it just felt
Yeah,
like home to you.
it did
You
because
kept
gold.
asking people, "Oh, you got your go."
We got your gold teeth, like, and what's different, because like, okay, what's different from like in New Orleans and maybe Mississippi,
Yeah.
people they got permanent gold teeth,
Right.
meaning they went to a dentist and got them. Like Atlanta and Florida and New York and different places up north, they would have the grills. Texas
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
grills, something that you could pull in, pull out. No, man, when you get goals, you got to be committed.
You got to get
You gotta
goals.
get goals. If you gonna get it, you in this for life. There's no coming back. There's no coming back. So in New Orleans, they had the thing, two at the top, four at the bottom. So you would have your canines.
Okay.
Ain't that what they call your canine?
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
incisors,
yeah.
right? Your two. So those would be gold. Those two would be gold, and then four at the bottom. The four at the bottom. So two at the top, four at the bottom. Yeah, that was. And growing up, I wanted gold teeth so
I might need to
bad.
give me a go when we get to South
Man,
Africa. What you think?
look. I might
Like
have a
Steve, you done
mouthful.
one?
I might have a mouthful of open face. My mama
I
had
will
it.
accept it.
Yeah. My mom was like, "What?" I was like, "I want to get some gold." She wouldn't. She wouldn't let it go
No, no,
on.
my parents would have said
Mm-mm.
no. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. If you'll see the title, because obviously we already picked the title. So the title is K word, N word, in the comment section. So we kind of touched on the comment section. we want to touch on this K word and this N word and look at how um, Black South Africans, um, I feel like I got to sneeze. Black South
Uh-uh.
Africans and Black Americans both have a terminology that is derogatory, but how we both how the two separate groups handle these negative racist terminologies in very different ways.
Mm.
So let me start
Well,
off
let's get
first
into
by saying that as Muslims, the K word, and I will not use it because I know that so many of our followers um, are South African, and it's an offensive word. But as Muslims, we were very familiar with the word
it. Hmm.
because outside of the South African context, in Islam, it means an infidel. It means an unbeliever, right? And it doesn't, uh, legally, it is
Hmm.
not applied to Christians and Muslims because Christians and Jews, because Christians and Jews
Hmm.
are believers, whether we agree fully with their translation of Scripture, right? But they are believers. It would be applied to um, non-believers, other faith systems,
Other faith traditions.
other faith traditions, right?
Yeah.
So, so the K word is not a word that I'm not familiar with. I did not know about it in the South African context and that history until recently. But
Hmm.
it's a word that we have used over and over. It's in the Quran, it's in the Hadith. So we knew exactly what it meant. And I found it to be so when someone explained it to me, because someone actually sent I knew about it prior, but then someone sent me an email with a long explanation of both colors and then the use of the K word or whatever have you. And I thought it was interesting. So in that email, excuse me, in that email, the K word, he said the K word is illegal, right?
What, hold on, back up. Like, what is the origin of it?
So, so
Because that's not the tradition of the Dutch.
right. So the Dutch picked up the word from, I think it was Indian. Y'all correct me on this. There were in East Africa, the Indian Muslims who came, hence Dar es Salaam and
Yeah,
all those
yeah,
places,
yeah.
right? They were calling Swahili non-Muslims the K word,
Okay.
and the Dutch picked it up from them and then applied it to South
That's
Africans.
interesting.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
so he said that the K word is illegal. Like you cannot use this word. Now, let's backtrack and talk about the N word. I really don't know the origins of the N word. When I was young, people said it just means somebody that's ignorant, right? But we do know what the history in terms of, I don't know the origin, but we know the history.
Etymology.
Right. I don't know the etymology of the word, but I know the history of the word, right? And that is it was a terminology used to degrade and dehumanize black people in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
right? Excuse me, y'all. I apologize.
Take a sip.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Go
Mm.
ahead and soothe that down a little.
Yeah, I'm. Man, it's all up here. So, but here's the difference. And this is when we can talk about, and this is my theory, the majority versus minority, right?
Yeah.
When we never had that uh, democracy moment. We never had the truth and reconciliation moment. We
Mm-hmm.
just had a kind of long, drawn out period of fighting for civil rights, fighting for freedom, back to fighting for civil rights, right? So we never had an opportunity to legislate against a word of hate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been around so long. Here's an interesting story. The day that Dr. King died, our Mandela, right? For
Mm-hmm.
lack of a better term, our freedom fighter, the most known black person in the United States. When the day that he died, Andrew Young, who was a New Orleanian,
Mm-hmm.
was Dr. King's close associate. and they were in the hotel room in Memphis, and Andrew Young had been out somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and he walked in the room, and Dr. King said, "N word, where you been?"
What?
Yeah. Oh, you know he smoked and everything.
Dr. King was
But
okay.
I mean the thing about it is the
You almost see him differently now.
well
You can almost see how he said it too.
yeah,
Where you been?
the thing about it is that the N word had been adopted by black people. We had been called it so much we began to adopt it long time
Yes.
ago. We adopted it as a part of our own, and you had some people who said, "No, that's the wrong way to go about it. You
Yeah,
don't
they
adopt
did.
it." But we had no power to control it because we had no power to legislate against the use of it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So we had to take the word, and next thing you know, every rapper in the world is using the N word. And when I mean every rapper in the world is using the N word, South African rappers are using the N word, Nigerian rappers are using the N word,
Mm-mm.
all over.
Everyone. I went to Korea. South Korea got off the plane.
Yeah,
The first thing I heard coming from a South Korean teenager's mouth to his friend that got off the plane with me. Nigga. I looked up like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. Well,
Man,
when we were in
it blew my
Paris,
mind.
when we were in Paris in the car riding, Drake's song came on, and whatever it was, and he was using the N word, and it wasn't bleeped out. It was just on the radio,
Yeah.
and you know you can't use it on the radio here,
Mm-mm.
but we have now promoted and propagated this word throughout the world. This word it carries so much pain. There's old black folk. If you say that word to them, and here's the kicker, and we're gonna get back to the K word. I'm sorry that I'm jumping around my family, but I just want to make sure I get all of this out. We lied to ourselves and said that we were taking power away from the use of that word. Yet
Mm-hmm.
today, after 30 years of rap music and the use of the N word, if a white man calls you an N word, you still supposed to beat the brakes off of him, right? Because it still touches you in a way that is sensitive, that is hurtful, that all of the pain that the word has always had,
Mm-hmm.
when they use that word, it comes right back up. So you cannot take the power away from that word.
Yeah.
When old black people hear that word, man, it touches them.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being a grown man having to bow down and take that word from, here you are 40 years old and a white boy 20 years old calling you that word, and you got to take it and move on,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's mandatory in my household. Sons, if they call you that word, beat the brakes off of them. If you can't beat them, come get your daddy. I got you.
You gonna be
I got you. All the doctor, side, dissertation, researcher, that's all out the window. I'm fighting and I'm beating the brakes off of them. You understand? So now with the K word, it's different.
Mm.
South Africa went a totally different way. They said, no, you can't even use that word. It's against the law. They criminalized it. And every once in a while, you'll hear a story, because as I was researching for this post, you'll hear a story about there was like 2 years ago, maybe less. There was a white high school student, and she was complaining on the phone to her friend, and someone recorded it, and she was using the K word repeatedly. And they said, "Wait a minute, how is she 17 years old,
Mm.
and we've been liberated? You know, we've been a democracy, and this is word has been legislated, supposed to be legislated out of existence,
Mm-hmm.
and how she still, well, that's because somebody taught her that word. That's because her family is still using that word on the regular.
Yeah.
You know, well, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm monopolizing this for the last 5 6 minutes.
No, I mean that's how that goes. You can't legislate away people's feelings and value system deep down.
Hmm.
So I mean you can I think it was the right course of action. But what
Right.
I'm saying is
It's going to be there.
it's still gonna be there.
Right. And even if they don't use it, they can still treat you like it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they don't use the word, they can still treat you like it. But I do think
Right.
South Africans, black South Africans, took the right course of action by saying, no, we're not going to embrace this word. They have a better
Yeah.
chance of eradicating its usage so that their grandchildren and great grandchildren will not have to face the indignity of being called that name. However, I want to be clear, and I just have to be honest.
What color did you call that word as well?
I don't know if colors would call that word, but
Okay.
I know that the N word does not have the same context, the same. It's not in South Africa. There's not the same negativity attached to it.
Mm.
But I think South Africa should be sensitive about using that word also, because it does have the same history as the K word with us.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I listen to Nigerian rappers, and they are using the word left and right, and I know that they mean no harm. They have
Yeah.
taken the word and and see, and this is why I'm sensitive to it, because it was our fault. We took the
Yeah.
word, and everybody became my N word, and I
Um.
ride for my N word, and I died for my N word, right? And we propagated and promoted this to the world. And now the world uses the word in a totally different context, the same way we use the K word in a totally different context,
Mhm.
right? But as we begin to globalize and as the world becomes smaller through technology, I think we should all be aware of different uses of words. Like in Nigeria, Nigerians have a word, particularly for Black Americans, called kata, right?
Mm.
We ain't, you know, they're not going around calling each other that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So as we begin to globalize and come together and bridge these gaps, we need to everybody needs to be made aware of words that still have a hurtful. And guess what? I'm not gonna sit up here in front. If a black South African be like, "What's up, my N word?" I know what he means. I know where that comes from.
Right.
You know, I know that place. However, um, my daddy wouldn't. Our elders wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
You see what I'm saying? So yet we have to be careful of how we approach these words that have such historical baggage
Right.
in different contexts. Like when I go to the masjid on Fridays,
Mm-hmm.
if someone said the K word is different, and I'm like, I will not even say the word here because
Mm.
I know the baggage that as it relates to my South African family.
Right.
But if someone said the K word at the masjid, I'm like, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
that's a part of it. So and vice versa. Understanding the use of the N word outside of the context of Black Americans, everyone needs to be made a little bit more sensitive and aware of the painful history that's behind that word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, anything you want to add to it? I know I've been talking. I'm just starting to feel better, y'all. I'm sorry. I haven't
You got a
been,
second win.
yeah, I haven't really been joking on this one, but because I'm not feeling too great. But
Yeah.
I think there was
You
so.
know what I anticipate coming in the comments?
Mhm.
Because you get this a lot. This whole idea of um, Islam being connected to Arabs and people thinking that it's anti-black just in general as a religion. And so
Read
like
my
when it
book,
was about
how Bismillah and Bean Pie. Yeah, you can't come. You coming for the wrong scholar with that one. You gonna have to go for one of the people with a GED. You got to come for. I'm a scholar. No, 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 no. Read my book, Bismillah and Bean Pies: How Black Americans Crafted an Islamic Identity through nationalism.
but I'm even
So
saying prior to.
yeah, and
Prior
and
to.
but chapter one covers that. We even have Servants of Allah by what's her name, Diop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. It's covered. It's covered. The idea that somehow Islam was propagated, particularly in West Africa, through the sword, has been thoroughly debunked. Sheikh Anti Diop debunked that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's reasons why Islam. Number one, the madrasa, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Learning. The reason why a lot of West Africans embraced Islam was because they saw it beneficial, not necessarily as a faith tradition, but because of trade,
Mm.
the access to literacy, right? The madrasa learning the Quran,
Universality.
right?
Yeah.
They saw similarities in circumcision, communal prayer,
Mm-hmm.
um, and several other things, dietary laws, not eating pork and stuff like that. So marriage laws. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there are several reasons why Islam was able to be propagated and accepted and proselytized in West Africa, and now East Africa. They did hook them up with a little slavery.
Yeah.
They hooked them up with a little slavery.
Yeah.
Okay, So, but that's a whole different story. That's about slavery. But we got to go. There's a great presentation, and we kind of getting off subject. But there's a
We
great
are, we are.
presentation called Beyond Bilal, because Bilal was the prophet Muhammad, one of the prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam closest companions, and the first person to call the Adhan, and he was an Ethiopian, right? So,
Oh.
if anybody wants to have that discussion about Black Islam, please do. I will sit down. We could do it on Zoom.
It's a great discussion.
Yeah, I got you.
There's a lot to be learned.
There's a lot to be learned. And there's no need for us to sit there and fake the funk like they didn't enslave a whole bunch of East Africans, right? Or that Arabs don't come to our community in 2021 and sell liquor and pig feet in the Black community when we're supposed to be Muslims. And I called them out too, right?
Yeah.
I don't get down with them doing that. The hypocrisy that you'll come and entertain our women, but you won't. We're not supposed to date in Islam. We're supposed to court in Islam, right? So you come into our communities, into the Black communities, and you flirt with our women, hoping to sleep with our women, and you sell pig feet to our children, and you sell alcohol to our men, and you call yourself Muslims. You are a hypocrite. And if the Quran says the hypocrite is the worst type of person, right? I mean, worse than the infidel.
Well, dang, what got into you today?
Well, we gotta tell it like it is. We gotta tell it like it sure enough is.
Let him use you.
Let
him use you. Let the spirit move through you. Come on now.
So hey, listen. You gotta tell the truth. Truth is at the center of everything. Truth has to be at the center of every dialogue. Because if you're not approaching the dialogue with truth, then what are you doing?
Indeed.
Right.
Yeah.
26 minutes in. I mean, this was a short one, but hey. We'll be back on. We'll be back on.
We don't do short. I don't know if we can do under 20 minutes.
No.
Let's get to talking.
And I started.
I did want to ask for some recommendations.
Oh, go ahead. And I'm starting to feel better. Shoot. Look, that's the South African love. Yeah, that's the South African love. Yeah.
I need recommendations. We're gonna be there over New Year's Eve.
And Christmas.
I want to know what's popping. What's popping in Joburg around that time? I'm sure.
Or do we need to go to Durban?
Right.
Do we need to go to Durban? Let me know.
Hit the road.
Because I'll drive. I'll ride out.
I know.
Come and take a ride with me on the phone. Oh, I know I feel this way.
Hey,
it must be the money. I'll ride out. We can shoot out to Durban.
Yeah, give us some suggestions.
Please leave them in the comments section. Let us know good things to do in Joburg or Durban during Christmas / New Year's. That whole little time frame right there. And as always, anything else?
No, I think that was about enough for one video.
Yeah. Oh, I know we're gonna get some comments on this one. What got into a side? My daddy is a Baptist preacher, if you want to know. So I can get to preaching too. Yeah. Somebody asked, so quick story, 2 minutes. I will go to 30 minutes, right? Right there. Somebody asked me, how is it that my dad is a Baptist preacher and my mother also has a degree in Christianity? She went to a regular university and she also went to a seminary too. So she was a public school teacher, but she also has a degree in theology. And my father is a lettered, learned Baptist minister. However, I think that I was influenced, number one, by the Nation of Islam, which is a separate organization from Sunni Orthodox Islam. And I mean, I'm sure most people outside of the U.S. maybe understand that, or maybe they don't. Like the Nation of Islam, Malcolm before Mecca, right?
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali. Before 1975.
Most important.
Elijah Muhammad. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I say that because even though what Elijah Muhammad taught was not Sunni Orthodox Islam, if it were not for Elijah Muhammad, black Muslims would still be going to church every Sunday and not to the mosque. And there's no problem. I'm not one of those Muslims who say anything against the church. My mother and father are Christians, and beyond them, my big mama, my grandmother. If anybody is in heaven, if there is a heaven and anybody is there, I know my big mama is there. And she was a Christian. The Quran says that the Jews, the Christians, the Sabians, all will have the day with the Lord. That's Quranic, right? That's in the
Mm-hmm.
Quran. So anyway, how did I get here? I was influenced by the Nation of Islam, the Black Muslims, right? And it wasn't until I met Sunni Orthodox Muslims that I understood that there was a difference,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I knew then that I couldn't become a part of the Nation of Islam because there was some discrepancies, in my opinion. I will never minimize the
Yeah.
importance of that organization
Disparage them.
or disparage that organization. I just say that it is not Sunni Orthodox Islam,
Right.
right? And there are some discrepancies with the teachings versus what the Quran says.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Quran first, and I can tell a story. When I said I wanted to convert to Islam, I said that if my wife did not want to convert, I'll remain in the church. I'll just remain a person in the church, cutting up, because that's what I used to do when I went to church. Cut up because there was a lot of stuff in the Bible um, that, again, I grew up in the church. I have somewhat of a scholar as a father, a biblical scholar as a father and a mother. So it was things that I understood that were erroneous, and maybe it's not in every church, right? But in the churches that we attended, that were being taught erroneously.
Mm.
And what I liked about Islam was the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I need a little discipline. You know, I'm a little wilder than, you know. I need something with just a little bit more rules and guidelines. You know, cause they go, they be like, I can. One of the things people used to criticize and be like, Christians go out drinking on Saturday night and be in church on Sunday. I can't do that. I
Mm.
can't do that. I
Mm.
need something that's strict, right? So that I can go on and walk this path and go and try to
Right.
make it to heaven. But yeah, so it was just what was best for me. But indeed, as it was something that was best for me, and as I was reading and growing, Adrian was reading and growing, and it
Mm.
was something that we decided was best for us. And then our children were born Muslim, also. And just keep in mind, I've known Adrian how long?
It's been a long time. Since what, 2000? 2000.
Yeah, I've known Adrian
Yeah.
half my life.
Check that out.
So 42. I've known her since 2000. So we have that's the path that we chose for ourselves, and it has been a beautiful journey.
It really
It
has.
has been a beautiful journey, but I'm never the individual that will bash a Christian. I love my Christian family. Never an individual that will bash a Jew. I love my Jewish family. I won't bash someone who is outside of the Abrahamic
Right.
faith tradition. Whatever floats your boat, whatever, like, as they said in Minister Society, whatever keep you from breaking into my house. What do you say, Allah, Jehovah Jireh? As long as it keep you, as long as it keep you from breaking in my house, I'm good with it, man.
Right.
Do you?
Walk your path. Walk it well.
I'm with you, baby. Man, look, man, it's 33 minutes, man, and we just been up here rambling. Man, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Again, leave those comments and suggestions about what we could do and the thing, and keep the comments and stuff coming in. Man, we really appreciate it. We'll be back. Today is Friday. We'll be back on Sunday,
Yeah.
inshallah, with another video. And then remember, I guess I should have said this at the beginning, the housekeeping.
What?
The Wednesday call. Dang, it's way at the end of the video. People might not even watch it this
They're
long.
not gonna watch
But
it.
that's all right though.
They stopped about
They'll
10
see it on
minutes in.
they'll see it on Sunday. We'll make sure that we do it on Sunday, man. So peace and blessings to y'all, and we out.
Peace.